Hello, Plateau. You're welcome to our podcast, Power Check, holding leaders accountable. On this platform, we're talking accountability, we're talking intentionality, and we're talking results. Here, I have result-oriented people. Architect Hart Bankat, JMDB General Manager. We have also the PSIRS Chairman, Dr. Pam Wayas. We have Mr. Samuel Dapiya, the Director General of PEPSA, and we have Honorable Samuel Gwott, the Head and Managing Director of Plateau Express Service. You're welcome, and it's great to have you, sirs.
Yeah,
Thank you for
nice to be here.
Thank you.
All right. Just before we started, I saw a synergy that you guys have. What would you say if we tell you that you are called the Four Horsemen?
Wow.
Let me start with you, Samuel Dapiya.
I'm just hearing this for the first time. I've never heard it.
Okay.
I know that I have my older brother, Dr. Jim Wayas, who has been an older brother to me.
Okay.
I know Hart has been my friend from university, and I know
Oh, cool.
the MD of Plateau Express has also been a big brother and one I have long admired when Valji came on board. And you know, those kind of people that you see from afar, but you keep admiring. I look forward to being like this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then boom, we're here.
Right. So, what do you have to say?
Well, I think he has summarized it. Basically, it's you use the right word, synergy. It's, in the words of His Excellency Barrister Caleb Manasseh Mutfong, it's collaboration and not competition.
Right.
So, and then finding ourselves within the same peer group and then understanding ourselves and having relationships way back, we've come a long way. So it made it easier for us to collaborate and do the things we're doing.
You mentioned something about young. Now, I want to ask you a question.
All right.
A good number of people in the Plateau State Internal Revenue Service are quite older.
That's right.
How have you ensured that you uphold the standard that it's not about how old you are, but the quality of service you render?
That's right. So, I came from the background of the Federal Inland Revenue Service.
Okay.
Having worked there for over 13 years. I have a very robust background in academics. Joining academics and practice had made it much more easier for me to look at the State Internal Revenue Service. Yes, they are older people, but the thing is respect. And respect is actually supposed to be earned. So I think when I came, yes, they gave me the slogan, they brought one small boy to come and lead us and things like that. So I get that vibes a lot. So I know. But sometimes they say big things come in little packages. So I think I'm one of that.
I like that.
What do you have to say about that, Honorable God?
Yes, it's an opportunity for you to prove yourself. Well, what are we talking about? When was General Gwott? At what age was he the head of state? Most of the governors that governed during the military rule, at what age were they? And so right now, is it a decline, or it's supposed to be an appreciation in terms of capacity for youths? So I think we should change that narrative that we're too young. Everybody, I think many people at different levels in this present administration had that kind of a scenario where you came into that place and people felt, who is this? And so with time, you get to prove who you are. And I believe that we're not too young to run. We're actually the leaders, not of tomorrow, but for today.
That's right.
Not too young to run. Let me come this way again.
All right.
So share with us what a typical day in your life is. Like talking, building discipline, and ensuring that you are not too young to ensure everything is efficient.
Golf. Starts with golf.
They say typical day. So it's
To start with a typical day, like it has become a routine. It has become a part of what we do.
Okay.
And coming into a system that has been kind of neglected and abandoned for a very long time, and then coming with that energy, trying to pull up things to move forward, it's kind of It seems more of an impossible task, but fortunately enough, I'll give it to my team. Unlike the usual narrative whereby they look down on you, they had that hope and belief, maybe based on the experience you came in with and then where you are coming from. We didn't just come up from the streets. We're mostly in private practice and we had things we were doing. So we had achieved a whole lot in what we were doing and had gotten to certain heights that gave us the platform to be where we are today. And I think that made a significant input in what we were doing. So you were also respected from where you're coming from and what you were doing. And then they were also willing to learn while you are also willing to learn from them. So a typical day for me cannot be defined.
Okay.
A typical day for me cannot be defined. The reason is because issues come up every day. So every day comes with its own drama. You might wake up and it might be a calm day. You might wake up and it might be a hectic day, and then you start from the scratch. So I cannot, for one, tell you that this is my typical day. Basically, because I might wake up. Let me give you a case in sight. I was sleeping the other day and I woke up and Terminus Market was burned. And I had over 50 missed calls. People were looking for me left, right, and center. And then imagine starting up even without praying, having to rush out and then do one or two things. And then there's a day you might wake up and then you hear that, okay, metro buses cannot move simply because some people came out to protest or barricade the road. So I'm just trying to give you scenarios that the day cannot be defined. Every day comes with its own conditions, and then that basically defines how the day is going to be.
So keeping a flexible and open mind. All right. Mr. Samuel Dapiya, I heard you some time ago share about your son who after eating biscuits was trying to find where to trash the park. Yeah, that stood out for me. And it's something you are building in your son particularly. You also have said at some point that there's a mindset you're trying to create in the minds of Plateau people.
Right.
How has that been for you?
So for me, if you ask me within His Excellency's 2-year in office and my 1 year serving as, by privilege, serving as Director General of PEPSA, I would say my greatest achievement is not building a building or buying any equipment. But I would say my greatest achievement within my time in office would be the increased level of citizen participation generally. Because I have seen where people are deliberate in either maintaining in waste management, the culture of waste management. And I remember yesterday I was driving home. I live just not far from here, and there was a bump on my way home, and somebody just took pure water and just littered it on the street. Then I drove up to meet the guy. I was like, he didn't know who I was, and I was not driving any big car. I'm like, okay. I spoke in Hausa literally, and I'm like, when are you subta? Are you not happy? Don't you like how beautiful, the street is? Because it's a culture of littering things from the window. It didn't take us as Plateau people 1 day to get to where we are. And I'm sure it wouldn't take us just 1 year to undo the bad culture we had learned over the years. If some of this behavioral change had started earlier, I'm sure by now, if it had started and then sustained, I'm sure by now would have addressed these issues of behavioral change. Currently, we also have a call center. Okay. PEPSA has a call center to address some of these major issues, not just on waste management, but also to address issues of open defecation. Because you have people just, they just stand and wee outside and poo outside. Some will tell you it's what they are used to. It's a culture. But there are also superior ways of doing things. It's just a function of what you're using to benchmark yourself. What standard are you using to benchmark? So we rather choose, as young people, to use high standards to measure ourselves. We're not going to use what somebody else did in the past. What is the world best practice? Plateau is known to be the home of peace and also the home of tourism. And there's a strong relationship between what PEPSA is doing and also with the Ministry of Tourism. And the quality of the environment, adds to the ambience of the state and what you see. So we're very, very aware of that, and it's a function of that. And I would also share the story of my son.
Okay.
When we went to St. Monica's, he's 2 years. He just turned 2 years. And we went for retirement service, my former DE. And we're in church. We went with, packs of Ribena and also a pack of some wraps of biscuits. And when he was done eating, his snack, he looked for a bin, to trash the biscuit wrap. It was easy to manage the Ribena because there was still some left. Yeah. And he turned around, walked down to the door. There was no bin, came back, turned around, there was no bin. Then he started crying. He had the biscuit wrap. He kept crying, and we're wondering why he was crying. It was because he had that biscuit wrap, and there was no way to litter it, nowhere to trash it. So all I did was to quickly I wore a kaftan. I just opened the pocket, and then he trashed it in my pocket. Then he became, well-behaved and settled. So for me, it takes really Plateau people to make the system look good and beautiful.
Informed decisions.
Yeah.
Honorable Jim Pam. Okay, you said I should call you Doctor.
But that's what it is. I didn't say that.
Okay, Dr. Pam Wayas. All right. Revenue generation. How have you ensured efficiency in and then the right mindset from people in different forums of generating income, the people on the street, people with shops, people that are always on transit? How have you ensured that they keep the right mindset to ensure that there is adequate collection?
Okay, so I'll start from this angle.
Okay.
There's this Igbo proverb that I love so much that it says, if the hunter learn how to shoot without missing, the birds will learn how to fly without perching.
Nice.
So the revenue service had to follow the track and the way of the hunter. Since they can shoot without missing, so we'll learn how to fly without perching. So look at the taxpayer as those birds that fly without perching. So we have to have a monkey trick and observe what happened within and outside the state. So the first thing we did was the fact that we need to build trust in governance. Now, so there's a direct relationship between citizens paying their taxes and trusting the government. So if there's no trust in government, they won't pay. So the government of Barrister Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang have brought trust in the people of Plateau. I've seen how people transit from unwilling taxpayers to willing taxpayers. Why are they transiting? Because they could see taxpayers' funds put in judicious use. Now, this is one path. Now, for our part, as a revenue service, we have to even redefine the way we do things. Now, globally, nobody collects taxes by cash. So one thing that we met in the state government so that we can't run our state down is the fact that payment is automated, but collection is cash driven. So we're heavy on cash. So the first thing we did was to block up everywhere that you're making payment, that it have to be automated. If you won't go and deposit your cash in the bank, then you use your ATM, then you use your internet banking. Then the office have different facilities and different people or wallet system to make those payments. So that had also helped us. Now in accounting, there's what we call teaming and lending. Now teaming and lending only talks about if a tax authority or tax administrator see money every day, he tends to steal from today and cover from tomorrow. So that's teaming and lending, not fraud as such. Now he covers his track. Now, but because there's available cash, that's why they do that. But I discovered that the problem is not even from the revenue service. There are a lot of leakages across all MDAs, that's ministry, agency, and department of government. So we automate those processes and make sure that what's supposed to come to government comes to government. Then, like I said again, that is also one path. In one part, money comes in. Then we have to also redefine and move with the global trend. Now, taxation is driven by data. We don't do tax taxation as it were before. Like you see that in your office, the taxpayer will come. No. We have to follow the taxpayer. I gave you the instance, the birds fly without perching. So again, we have to follow them to wherever they do their businesses. So we go by structural format in the sense that some of them are kind of association, organization. So that's why you talk about the market, the places. So we strategize and we go through their union. Okay. And we tell them that, well, for us, it's live and let's live. Your union must survive. But again, the government must also survive. So I give you instance. You discover before now, they'll block taxi, they have union, they collect money from them. But when it comes to government cannot collect from those people. So we have to tell them that it's live and let's live. You go to market, I never knew the kind of associations we have until when I became a revenue man. I discovered that there's Keke Association, there's Trekkers Association, there's Fruit Association. There are different kind of associations. My brothers, my sisters, it was an experience. But you remember, the whole thing is an informal sector. So the only way we can also penetrate the informal sector is to formalize them, making them to see that, okay, there's a need for you to contribute to the development of the state. Though some prove difficult, but I can tell you now that we have a reasonable number of tax willing payers in our net than the unwilling tax. Then another part is that I don't know whether there was a conspiracy against the state, that even what is supposed to be due to our state in terms of payee that is deducted from, so we have different kind of payee. So let me talk about the federal payee. Now if I talk about the federal payee are those federal agencies, from the last count we have 109 in the state. Now, 109, you could decide that there's one complete agency. The tax does not come to Plateau State, it goes to Yobe. I can give you for free. Then the doctors, even in Jude, so the doctors, their taxes go to Kwara. So we have to correct the aluminum normally that we have observed. And so that what is due to us come to us. And this is supposed to be a place that is supposed to be already known. It's not an unknown area because it's deducted as us. Then we discover that there's what we call private payee. So many agencies having different taxpayers, they deduct these taxes from their employees and they don't remit to us. So we start pursuing them. So we started from the known to the unknown. So the unknown is the informal sector, and up to today, we're having issues in the informal sector. We're breaking boundaries.
Oh, great. This is so much. You mentioned something, and I picked convenience and formalization at the same time.
Yes.
Now let's talk about the Metro cards. Metro cards is something that has helped people largely, and it is helping to ensure that poverty is alleviated and people enjoy awesome travel to their workplaces to and fro. So how has it been so far? And especially with the recent good news that there are more metro buses. How has it been?
Well, at first there was lots of skepticism about the concept of using card. And we tried to make a lot of promotions, adverts, enlightening the community about using cards. And the cards are for 3,000 naira, and it comes with 1,000 and also an extra 200 as like a, what do you call it? Like a bonus. And so far we've sold about 58,000 cards. Yes.
That's right.
And our target is to go over 100,000.
Okay.
And so we've been moving an average of 9,000 commuters daily.
Okay.
And this has not only brought, it has also a socio-economic impact. In terms of social impact, it's very hard to weigh the benefits because there's so much connected to the Tin City Metro bus service. And we've been trying to improve nightlife. Basically, we understand that no proper city will survive on Keke Napep. I mean, a city like Jos that has been there since the first creations, the Plateau Benue, Jos deserves a bus service, a proper bus service subsidized system. And so we've shown proof of concept, and we're hoping that we thank God that His Excellency, the talk and do governor, he actually has the people at heart. You would agree with me, apart from food, the next biting issue is transportation. And you can imagine commuters, initially, they go to work and spending more than half of their salary on transport fares. Right now, there's been a great cashback, cash savings, not only for civil servants, it has also boosted business. And also, it has been like a bridge for peace building. We can see lots of Christians, Muslims all together in the bus. Some, like the Farangada route, they formed an association. There's a chairman, there's all of that. They sing, they pray in the bus, they look out for each other, and they have a strong family. So it actually creates a lot of bonding for us on the plateau. And for us, any opportunity that brings peace building is very, very good. So we're happy, so far so good, that we're going to unveil the Tin City Metro 2.0. This comes with a lots of benefits.
Okay.
Not only that we're strengthening the existing routes, we're decongesting the already congested buses, but we're actually introducing very new routes. We've prioritized on high traffic because we're running this as a business, and it's looking very good. We actually have a new card payment system that we're unveiling, a new app, a better tracking system, and all of this is actually built in-house. We've actually grown that technology in-house. You can imagine a tourist coming to town and he can actually download the app and he doesn't even have to buy a card. He can actually create a ticket with a QR code and use that and just tap and pay. And so that's part of innovation has been one of our core values. And so far, so good. We're really grateful to His Excellency Barrister Khaled Manasseh Mutfwang. So much employment, many ripple effects in the economy. And so it's proven to be self-sustaining.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ripple effects. Now, still with you, how has PEPSA, PSIRS, and JMDB benefited Plateau Express service?
Very good question.
Synergy.
Very good question.
We started.
Yes,
here.
very good question. So let me say that for the Tin City Metro bus service to work properly, we need a very strong synergy between the PEPSA and also JMDB. It's very important to say that the terminus market, there's been several attempts by past governments to see how they could clear the traders. That place was a total mess. There's been several different, but the approach that we came with, His Excellency constituted a committee and led by the SGS architect Sam Jato, and there was a lot of enlightenment. And JMDB did, PEPSA did there was a lot of work to clean terminals. If you go to terminals now, you love what you're seeing. And for the first time in over 35 years of the 7 years of existence of Plateau Express services, we've been able to capture our revenue through the PSIRS. And so that's where the synergy. So without them, we wouldn't have been able to successfully deploy what we're doing. And if we want to make a case for more business, it is actually the taxman that will be able to back us up and say, look, yes, they're doing well. Please give them more.
Exactly. Thank you. How have they benefited PEPSA?
I think they all have benefited PEPSA because so for my brother JMDB, who happens to also be my father.
Okay.
How?
because PEPSA was created from JMDB.
Oh, okay.
In a way. And then most of the health workers, mental health workers, were pulled out from JMDB. But the issue is the law in JMDB was never repealed.
Okay.
So assuming there was no synergy, ideally, PEPSA and JMDB should be arch enemies. Yes, because he has the backing of the law. Okay, to do exactly part of what PEPSA is doing. And PEPSA also has the power to do part of what JMDB has existing in their law. But because of the kind of leadership we have from the top down, he mentioned something that is very, very, very profound. He said it is about collaboration and not competition. We don't look at each other as who takes the credit. His Excellency takes the credit, all the credit. There's nothing about Sam. It's about His Excellency's vision and his mission for the people of Plateau State. I'll leave my big brother for the last. Plateau Express, I've enjoyed a lot of synergy from him because he had mentioned, during the commissioning of the metro buses last year, he said, myself and JMB, we were like John the Baptist, who went to water the ground and prepare for his coming. Because, the execution of the executive order was implemented by JMB and also PEPSA. And we ensured that we executed that law or that order to the latter. So beyond even, clearing the streets, we ensured we cleared the part of terminus where was never used, and not just clearing. I'm sure part of even this particular media team were part of those who witnessed that it was also properly fumigated, because for His Excellency Barrister Caleb Onassi-Mutfwang, he keeps saying it is not about economics for Plateau people. It's also not about the amount of money we take home, but also the quality of our well-being. That was why he spent money. It was government money, taxpayers' money he spent to fumigate terminals. The entire, because we felt as a government, Plateau people were going to be, residents within this particular space for at least 8 to 10 hours. So imagine if there was no proper fumigation. You keep inhaling these things, you go back home, and then you have issues, revolving around your health. And we've enjoyed a lot of synergy, the provision of beans within the initial first 15 buses that came. PEPSA produced or furnished the Plateau Express service with those beans. So you have beans in all the buses. Now that we have additional 15, we'll ensure that this initiative is sustained. And for my big brother here, who happens to be the chairman of Plateau State Inland
Revenue
Service,
Yeah.
is so he houses most of the money. PEPSA, as you know, is also supposed to be a revenue generating agency, in as much as some of what we do is also social service, but there's also a revenue generating part of the agency, which in the past PEPSA has not generated anything. But I believe last year, before the end of last year, I was appointed in February, 13th of February 2024. I assumed office, I think, 18th. And we generated last year about 6 million naira. And I was very happy, very excited when other ministries and agencies were celebrating billions and millions. Even when I was hitting 400,000, I was so happy. Very proud of myself because
it was from zero.
Yeah, from zero. And I was glad it was not a paper figure. It was an amount we had credited to the state government, because before assuming office, I had told myself no 50 kobo that belongs to Plateau people will get missing under my watch. And because part of what we generate is also cash from either enforcement, and all of that. And we send that money to our heads, that is housed with the revenue board. And as of today is 22nd of May 2025. And I can proudly say that PEPSA has generated over 26 million naira.
Wow.
And that money is, part of it is with revenue board, part of it is in PEPSA account. And we look forward to getting an account to credit my big brother, who happens to be the chairman. So there's a big, there's his office, the state government, and this synergy, and he has been very, very supportive in terms of making it very easy, for PEPSA to pay this revenues to state government. It would have been, a difficult task if the payment method was a difficult one. And currently, I would also say, I don't know if it will come as a question or a comment, but I would also say, use this opportunity to share that PEPSA has generated an app to address or to ease out the, issues of waste management, categorization of waste, water bodies in the state, and you can do a lot of things, and also pay waste collection to Plateau State Internal Revenue Service. It's very user friendly. It takes less than 20 seconds from the PEPSA app to get to the revenue platform for that payment to happen. And there will be the handshake almost instantly, and you'll be able to generate that receipt. So these are the kind of relationships that I would proudly say I've enjoyed. And he has given also his brotherly counsel to help us achieve this great feat.
Right. Still boils back to synergy.
Right.
Yeah.
We would continue on that, right? I would want to hear yours too, but then we'll take a break here and then play the game. So it's just cards. You just pick one.
Okay.
And then, okay, so thank God I have no time.
Why are you giving first? Oh,
Should I trust this game?
What does it say?
hey. When was the last time you cried?
Right.
Oh, like I cry every day.
Oh, really?
Well,
Why
actually,
though?
so I'm naturally moved by words.
Okay.
Yeah, so I could just be watching movie.
It's easy for like that.
Yes, just
So that could be actually inform your efficiency.
oh, okay.
Part of it, yeah, being emotional. Okay, please help me pass to.
Do you trust me to pick for him?
Should I pick for him?
Do you trust them?
No. Let's give him.
Okay.
Can we pick from anywhere?
Yeah, sure. Pick from anywhere.
Okay. Okay.
Read
What
it
does
out.
it
Read it loud. Read it loud.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
Yeah, what's your biggest pet peeve? What you
The
you
truth.
get irritated by?
Yeah.
You like that?
But I think I'll say snakes.
Snake.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Help me just pass. Pick from anywhere.
Okay. Start a story with I am tired.
Hey,
No, I don't get that
very
one.
easy now, very easy.
Start a story with I am tired and let each friend add a sentence to continue it.
Right.
Oh, okay. So you have to go around.
You will start, then you go round.
All right. My brother. First and second Samuel.
So you say, I'm tired
I am tired.
of the misery and pain. Over.
Mm.
I'm tired of being here.
I'm tired of illegal structures.
Okay, let's still go again.
Oh, the same game?
No, he has not said his own, no?
Should I
Yes,
say?
yes.
You
Actually,
just said I'm tired and you left us to make his statements.
So I'm tired of a dirty environment.
Right.
I'm tired of non-tax compliance citizens.
I'm tired of so many things. So
I'm
many
tired
things.
of also insecurity. and the
Right. I mean, that's something we're all tired.
Oh yes, I'm tired of the toxic social media
Right.
Oh,
on the Facebook.
Right.
Yes,
the blue app, right?
yes, the blue app. It's quite toxic.
Okay.
Tired is tired.
Okay, that does it. Thank you. Okay.
You get this
pick
back?
one. Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Okay, so I should. Okay.
Look at me.
Read
Go
it
ahead.
Can I get another one?
No, read it. No cheat.
Okay. What is one thing you wish you could tell your younger self, knowing what you know now?
Right. I think we would go over that. Just help me whisper now.
So, that one thing. Whoa. Okay, so many things I would have told myself, but that one thing I would have told my younger self, I would have started business much earlier. Right? Yes, there were things I really wanted to do. And I took a lot of time contemplating when I should start. I should have just started. And so that's one thing I wish I could tell my younger self.
The best time is now.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
time is now.
Actually. Yes.
So I would have told myself, my younger self,
Yeah.
to have been more practical. You know, like the Chinese who are also into production at a very early age. And, you know, the private sector drives most of the, you know, every part of the economy. I would have started production much earlier.
Wow,
Okay.
interesting. So I was just trying to crack in my head what should have. Maybe one thing I should have told myself when I was much younger is I should have known the phrase that says trust is a wicked virtue. But unfortunately, it's now known that I know that trust is a wicked virtue. So in the words of Arteta for the Arsenal fan, he said, trust the process. So I should have just trust the process.
The process. Okay.
I think they just summarized everything, so it will be difficult to say anything. But
It's just-
looking back at my younger self, it would
Okay.
have been, you shouldn't have been scared of the things you were scared of.
Yeah.
You know, just faced it head on.
Nice.
Okay. Thank you very much. Welcome back to Power Check, holding leaders accountable. We have here in this moment the boss of Plateau Express Service, PEPSAL boss, PSIRS boss, and the JMDB boss. Right, so before we went on that break, we were asking how they benefit each other. And we stopped at the point of the PSIRS boss. So get to share with us.
All right, so thank you. So I still want to share about synergy. So in accounting, we say 2 plus 2, supposed to be 4, right? But accounting, we say it's 5. So what created the extra one is that thing called synergy. Then again, that's what we call a snowball effect. What one do affects the other and helps it a greater spread. So the 4 of us here, let me see, all of us have one thing to do with revenue. Yeah. And you know, the only way you can measure actual performance is how much have you bring to the table. And so the entire states have been in the national debates that there's a consistent growth in revenue. And the constant growth in that revenue does not just happen with the PSRS, because so many things are happening in different places. So let me start from my brother from the right, Architect Hart. You know, he's one person I call the mad dog. Now, why do I call him a mad dog? Now, why do I call him a mad dog? You know, if you have a dog that is mad, just tell him, go this way. He just go and destroy anything in his present. So he's the demolition man par excellence.
Okay.
And so he had created a pathway whereby his action not only affected GMDB, no affected PEPSA, not only affected Plateau Express Service, it affected even our lands and so on. So the action, just 1 month that he was there, I discovered that titles in lands and survey just go up because people need to go and get their titles so that they get approval and so many things like that. Then for me at the revenue service, people keep coming in. Oh, I want to get a tax grant certificate because I need to do documentation. I need to get this. So these are some of the effects of one action by the mad dog. All right. So on the other side, on the flip side, you see PEPSA was one person that had created an image in every Plateau citizen. Now, what's the image? Yes, it's a social activity that he's doing, but you could see that naturally for every law created, there's always a punishment. And he only, unfortunately, his revenue are more of the punishment than more of what you should do in terms of service. Now, but you see, not that he created a niche for himself, he made people that, okay, if you do wrong, and you need to come and pay with the revenue service. And he had also created some wonderful ideas that, yes, I agree, my agency was not big, and my agency is more to spend than to generate, but he had created something that even us at the revenue service, we say his performance is above 100% because it's not how big, but it's how efficient it is. So this is one thing. And again, my brother, the Metro man, you know, he said he started from Metro 1.0 and now we're going to 2.0, right?
Yeah.
So the county keep going. Now here is inherent in the sense that he came and inherited a debt agency. Let me put it that way. Unfortunately, that's what it is. Then again, the first thing I asked him when they appointed him, I said, don't you think there will be conflict of interest? That they put you in a position that you kill your own business. And I never knew that his business had the ability of sustainability until when he left the business keep running. And we could see the transformation that happened within the last 2 years, less than 2 years, within the Plateau Rider. But again, not only that he created or he generated revenue, I have seen growth that what we spent will turn back within 2 years. And that is why today the government have decided to add more. Now, for me at the revenue service, I only look at the numbers. For him, probably he's creating service because he's at the cheapest cost. But that agency had never generated 2.5 billion. But in last year under review, we generated over 2.5 billion in terms of ticketing and sales. He talks about the statistics, so we don't want to go into those details. So what am I trying to say is that their actions and the actions of many other agencies of government have created the impact. And that's why today Plateau State is rated one of the top revenue growing agencies in the country. Where last year they graded us as the 4th in terms of revenue growth. And I think by the time we close this business this year, probably will be the 1st in terms of revenue growth. And you know, growth in us is inherent. So we have to start organically. So now we are going to explore. Okay. Now we are doing above 3 billion. I want to see the point that we're doing over 5 billion so that when it comes to salary, we pay our salary. We don't need to wait for FAC, whether they will FAC or not. And so many other things that the revenue service and other agencies of government are doing. So this is exactly the part that the synergy is not a competition,
Right.
right? So it's
Collaboration. Right.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah. Over to you, the architect.
Where do I start from? When my brother is calling me
Demolition man.
Demolition man.
So you can see the tags they attached to me, like we've been saying it and we keep emphasizing on it. The success of everything we do lies with what each and every one of us does. And it's for us to realize in the first instance that we're here not for ourselves, but to the success of His Excellency Barrister Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang. Sam rightly mentioned earlier and was saying that we're not doing it for ourselves. We're doing it not just to project His Excellency, but to also protect the future of our children that are coming. So we're deliberate about actions we take. And once we take those actions, I keep telling people, not by age, by virtue of where we're coming from and the privileges we've had, we have seen things. We have seen systems work. You remember not long ago, there was the whole Japa syndrome and everything. What was it all about? It was people yearning for better lives.
That's right.
And then when you come now and then you have those level of exposures and then you come into this place, it will be very unfair to the common man when you decide not to replicate what you've seen. Today, a lot of people don't have to go to London to see the metro buses. So when my brother was coming with the buses, he told me he had a problem. I said, what was the problem? He said, the buses cannot pass through town. Everywhere was choked. And I said, is that a problem? He said, yes. I said, okay, no problem. I remember dragging him out with my brother Sam when we went to start enforcing Executive Order 003. He ran to the car and was sleeping.
No, the truck.
He ran
We're
to the
waiting
car
for the
and was
truck.
sleeping. So we had to go and wake him up.
We're waiting
Tell
for
him
the
that
truck.
the whole essence why we're outside and not on our beds with our families is simply because we want to see the success of his bosses.
Right.
So he has to be awake with us. And I remember we did that very well. And then we had days of operations whereby we went out as early as 4 p.m. and then we didn't go back home till like 6 p.m. the next day.
Right.
So, and today I think even though I'm demonized, I came prepared to be cursed and insulted because the tax ahead was enormous. We came knowing what was on ground. So Sam had mentioned PEPSA was created out of GMDB. In fact, PEPSA was just the version of health department of GMDB. So when it came out, the laws was not repealed.
Okay.
So if it had not been for the synergy, like he rightly mentioned, we would have been fighting every day.
Yeah.
Because all the functions he is to carry out, we have the capacity to carry out.
Right.
And then if we are going to start conflicting and people getting confused, but because of that synergy now, there are things that when you bring complaints to JMDB, I tell you go to PEPSA. Simply because I don't want to stress my staff to go out and then they go and report to PEPSA and then they have to come out. And then at the end of the day, who are we working for? We're working for the same government. So whatever you're going to generate or whatever you're going to bring on the table is going to be for all of you. So, and it's going to work for the betterment of Plateau people. So why must you insist that it has to be you? A bad leader is the one that insists that everything must come under his name. But a good leader will always want to give people the shine and then make them see the glow. So for us, I think it has been very fantastic. And then for my brother here, I've never lied about it.
Okay.
I'm very bad. I'm very bad with finances. That's why I don't like holding cash. Because if I happen to hold cash, I don't remember going back home with it. I'm that indisciplined when it comes to cash because I feel it's a sense of responsibility. If you have, when you just ask me, I feel as if you've seen it, so I have to give you. So I don't have that level of prudence. But when I came in, the level of paucity I saw, and then the leakages I saw, I knew I couldn't do it. So I didn't need to pretend and then form to be the boss and then everything. I ran to him and I explained everything to him and I told him, how can we fix this? And to God be the glory. I think you gave us award, second revenue, highest revenue generating agency last year. Because we it's not rocket science. We just put the machineries in place. Right now, no matter what you're doing in GMDB, if you like, just go and carry GMDB receipt. I'll look at you, I won't pass the file until I see a PSIRS receipt attached to it. Because I realized that even with local receipts, it was business as usual. But immediately we introduced that, I even realized that the spike in revenue. And like I keep attacking him and telling him, I bleed because I see revenues that we're not tapping into. And if we want to tap, we need to do it. So it's all about the synergy going forward and the collaboration. I'm always disturbing him on it, so it's something he will have to do it. So that is the relationship, and that's how everybody helps everybody. Because for us, if it works for the state, The governor is able to give roads, and like we give people instances on site. You're complaining you don't have a good hospital, you're complaining you don't have good schools, and then you're here building an illegal structure. And you expect government to be able to provide all these services for you. If an accident happens on this side, you cannot afford to go to a private hospital. So where are you expecting that these things will be done for you? It's the government hospital. And if the government hospital is not well equipped, it's simply because you've not paid taxes. And so if you have to succeed, then it means everybody must pay taxes. We have to go back to that sense of responsibility. Sam was short of he has attacked each and every one of us here, because you dare not walk with Sam now and hold water and then you throw the can or something. He will tap you to go and pick it.
I mean, if
so unconsciously,
that.
everybody is beginning to. So if you look at it, it's not rocket science. It's basically just having that harmony and then understanding yourselves, and then you move on the same frequency. That's all.
I see the mindset of being partners in progress, sustainability, and then the fact that the growth of one is the growth of the other.
Yep.
Right, so 2 years gone, Governor Caleb Mutfwang in leadership. You've said a lot. What is the highlight, like the particular thing that has been the highlight of your being in office?
Hope.
Hope. Okay.
At least for the first time, you can have projections.
Right.
You can see where you're coming from. You can see where you're going to. And then when you have a flashback of where you're coming from and what you met on ground and where you are now. And I'll give you an example. When we got into office, I can tell you for a fact check me, this is the first time in public governance that you go to almost every agency and you see that almost all the offices are renovated.
Okay.
This is the first time that you go to every agency. There's no big, small, or micro agency. Almost every agency, and you see that they have functional operational vehicles. This is the first time you go to every agency and they are privileged to have overheads to be able to run independent businesses within the firm without having to write memos and be waiting for it. This is the first time that you have an accountant general that once the governor signs an approval, you don't need to be going to knock on her door or lobby or beg and wait. As long as your approval comes out, you expect payments. This is the first time you can sit down and make projections for your children, because you can see that if you're able to achieve this with this span, it means that when we get to that peak, we should be able to have achieved this. And why am I saying this? When we came in, I have a frame in my office of how Terminus was and how Terminus is. And I hope that by the time we are done with what is going to happen in Terminus, there will be a frame of how Terminus is. Yeah? That of Bukuru is the same thing. I remember growing up, everybody thought it was rocket science. It's not rocket science. But today you go to Kugia, see clear space. Wait for what is coming up there. And then you begin to see. That's why I tell you I see hope, because I'm beginning to see Jos looking like a city. I'm beginning to see Jos going to where it's supposed to be, home of peace and tourism. I'm beginning to see that with what we are doing, we're beginning to head to that point whereby we're going to start having layouts and not haphazard developments and slums. I'm beginning to see that the government is deliberate to take us to where we need to be. And then I'm beginning to see a people believing in a government and being reasonable and responsible to take on their responsibilities. When we came, there are certain areas in Jos that people will tell you that these people are lawless or they are above the law. There are certain areas that people feel government cannot penetrate. But today I can tell you that everybody is under the law in Plateau State, and everybody knows. And then when people tell you go for enforcement here, you don't go for enforcement there, it has stopped. Because everywhere there's enforcement to be done, enforcement can be done. That's hope. I have seen a situation whereby you can clear a Terminus and a Dilimi and there's no crisis or religious sentiments in Plateau State. Simply because people believe and understand what government is doing, and they know that it is not bias. It is not in any way trying to oppress anybody, but it's a deliberate effort to bring back the lost glory of Plateau State. So when you look at the journey so far, and for this great man to be able to achieve this in less than 2 years, we're heading to 2 years now. Imagine what will happen in the next 2 years when we standardize everything. And then when we come back for the second tenure, it is only God that can adjudge where Plateau is going to be in the Committee of Nations.
Okay, thank you. The PSIRS boss.
Oh, well, for me is that This is the first time I think I'm proud to be a Plateau citizen.
Oh, okay.
This is the first time I'm proud to be part of the team of Team Mutfwang. This is the first time I'm proud to be in the midst of great men. And this is the first time that at least there's a ray of relief within the people in the society. I remember just on Sunday when we went to pick up the metro buses, the naysayers even want to look at the buses that they are just 10. But we stood our grounds and count the entire metro buses. There are 15, additional 15 more buses to the city. This is the first time we could see government is delivering. He talked about some key areas that happened. Let me tell the truth. You don't need to go and pursue Memo. Memo works by itself. You don't need to go and lobby for anything. So there are a lot of things that are happening. And again, this is the first time the youth of Plateau should be proud of the youth of Plateau, because we are a reflection of what is happening under all the bigger number of the youth. If we cannot fail Plateau as young people, then it means that there's hope for the future. I don't want to believe that the next generation is a lost generation. It's going to be a discovered generation. That's how I looked at it. And one of the quotations I love so much is one quotation by Abraham Lincoln. He said something, he said, the best way to create the future is to create it. And I believe we're creating the future now, that the people of Plateau, 10, 20 years from now, will be proud just the way we are proud of J.D. Gwott. Remember, it's only in the J.D. Gwott that we have the high rising. And since after J.D. Gwott, there's no any high rising above any of the structure that J.D. Gwott built. Even our secretariat is a monument across the entire country. But I tell you that I believe that the future is not only now, the future have just begun. And they said that the best way to walk the distance in the journey of 1,000 miles begin with a step. And we are taking the bold step.
Oh, great. Hope, relief. Yeah. Mr. Samuel Dapiya.
Listening to my brothers really speak, just gave me some few seconds to think. And for me, the highlight for me has been the quality of leadership that His Excellency has shown. And all four of us seated here are just but a function of what His Excellency is. And I have passively asked him, or just thrown that comment, how did you arrive at the crop of people you have doing your job, the lieutenant around? And, I think he would just laugh. I think in the past, even before His Excellency declared he was running for governor, I think maybe this may be the first time I would say it on TV or on, in public. I had prayed, and I think I shared with my wife, I said, imagine what it will look like if you have a governor who answers to God. I just likened it to a father, who is a priest of the house. If you have that spiritual cover, as a family, there's that protection, there's that blessing that follows. And I likened it to leadership. I said, imagine if as a state, we have a father or a governor that answers to God or accounts to God. Imagine the ripple effects of the kind of things you'd enjoy. And most of the things you see happening is a function of that leadership. Because I have had conversations with some few organizations or companies that have been in Jos even before the coming of Barrister Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang, His Excellency. And the doors were never opened. But when he came, those doors were opened. An example is PEPSA developed the waste management framework that would be launched. We should have launched it last month until the attack in Bokos and in Basa, and we had to postpone. Those people had been there. It was developed alongside with TFON. TFON had been in Plateau before Barrister Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang came. This is a function of leadership. And I am also driven to do more for Plateau because of how passionate Barrister Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang is. Sometimes when you see the passion, the sleeplessness, sleepless nights, and you see how he's passionate about driving developments to Plateau. And let me also add from what they've shared. He shared about the accountant general. He shared also you don't need to lobby. I would also say people, by virtue of some of the things I do for this government, I've had people call to beg, do you know anybody in pensions board? My mommy retired in 2013. Mine died in 1985 or 1984. And I'm like, because of what I know, you don't need to lobby. And I say this with every sense of responsibility. You don't need to lobby to have your death benefits or your gratuities paid. When it's time, it will be paid, so long you're the next of kin of that person. And I say that with my chest, fully out, because for me, that is leadership. I have said before that everything starts and ends on leadership, and His Excellency has shown deliberate and passionate leadership on the plateau. And I would say proudly that before the end of his 8 years in office, Plateau will be more than what even the late J.D. Gwott did, because of the passion for development I can see him do. And he doesn't even talk about them. For me, these things are, the highlights, being a part of this government. And I keep saying there's no better time to serve Plateau than under His Excellency Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang. Because you can have these beautiful ideas. He has given us the free hand, to function. And this particular interview is handled by young people. Nobody is telling you, put mic here, the light should be there, carpet should be here, water. No, that way, it is your idea. Imagine if you were directed or ordered on how to do it. It won't be as colorful and you won't be as creative as you are. His Excellency has given us that free hand, really, to bring our ideas to bear.
Thank you very much, Honorable Gwott.
Well, it's not good to talk last. You've almost said it all. So, actually, what Plateau citizens have experienced is hope, just like what Hart said. And from all of them, good leadership. Good leadership. You see a leader that is very sincere. One of the best of times to serve and to actually be on the plateau, because you know that where there's so much that has been done in just 2 years. So much has been done. And we see growth, we see consistency, and just like what they've said, people, most of the people in this government are not people that even knew His Excellency or even lobbied or did something for the party or something. It was just based on merit, capacity. His Excellency has an eye for anybody that could contribute something, that could bring something to the table. So if you see that kind of leader and with the kind of things we're accomplishing, I say with all sense of pride that the future is bright for us here on the plateau. So it's looking very good. We want people to pray for His Excellency and to also he just wants to unite Plateau. He wants us to unite even from the leadership point. He's been carrying everybody along, whether you're a Christian, Muslim, from any party. He's a unifier, and he's always been doing that, and he has a very large heart. And I believe it's right time for us to unite as Plateau and face a common enemy.
Right.
So the more, the better we unite, the quicker we can to actually make good progress in terms of security and development.
Thank you very much. Time is far spent. So this is just going to be a brief part. So in few words, what should Plateau people expect going forward? In very few words, right? We'll go this way.
Sure.
Right, so
I'm the first now.
we're talking about being the last earlier.
Okay, it's kind of balanced now. Okay, so for Plateau citizens, I would say that from what you've seen, there's this Hausa proverb that it's from Thursday, or is it from when? we're not even in the Banzabok way. We're actually very, very legitimate. We're somewhere, shall we understand ourselves in just. So, yes, so that thing they said, Sha. So, well, it's for Plateau citizens, I would say that we need more cooperation. We need people to be patient. Yes, people are wired not to trust government because of past experiences. But we are saying that the time is right, or the time is now for us to come together. If you have anything of value, you should bring it on. It's a government that you can actually bring proposals or bring ideas, and you don't have to know anybody, and you could be listened to. So it's a very good time on the Plateau. Pray for His Excellency, and let's show responsibility by protecting Plateau.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So for me, would look forward to more synergy between all the sister agencies and arms of government, and also for PEPSA, we look forward to setting up recycling plants. The government had earlier signed an MOU. So we've done all the EOI, and sorry, I said EOI. All the assessments of our dump sites. We look forward to setting up, also acquiring, a land for fecal sludge treatment.
Okay.
Treatment plants. We look forward to also deepening what PEPSA is doing in other 15 local government beyond what we're doing in the Jos Bokru metropolis. We look forward to addressing issues of waste management more, and we look forward to privatizing the collection of waste.
All right.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So
The doctor.
From the taxman, the citizens don't like us, and but we try to love them as much as the government does. So the problem is that we do the most difficult job here because we are collecting, we are not giving. You see, for Sam, he's giving services. For her too, he's bullying people, so they don't really like us. They don't really like us. But that's one thing we need to know about the entire revenue service, is the fact that we are a friendly, organized revenue service. And I will tell Plateau people that cares to listen, we don't tax the seed, we only tax the profit. So what do I mean? We don't tax your capital, we don't collect from your capital, but we collect for what wealth you created, that is the profit you generated. And one of the things that we agreed to do as a service is that we are going to have what we call CAR, an acronym called CAR, Citizens Accountability Report, that for whatever we generated, we account for it. You see, we do the collection from one end, and some of the people are the ones that are spending. So like Plateau Riders are on the spending end. Then we have other agencies of government who also spend. The good thing is that, you see these three guys here, they also spend and generate. But me, I only generate without spending. So however, now... however...
Bad case.
However, we want people to trust, because for us in government, we have a leader that is trusted. We have a leader that has fear of God. And because of that, the people should trust us that their resources are safe in the hand of this government.
Right.
And again, like Sam God rightly said, the future is as bright as the promises of God.
Right.
So in my closing remark, I would like to say, pay your tax to develop Plateau. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Well, I'm not one of many
Architect.
words. I will only say trust the
When
process.
you become a man of less
So,
words.
I'm trying to be nice.
Because you start selling ice cream, right?
So, like, the truth is, there's no deliberate government that's going to be mean or wicked to its people.
Right.
There's no government that will want to incapacitate its people.
True.
And there's no government that will want to frustrate businesses or any form of actions that people might think. But when you see a government that is taking the hard pill, there are certain hard decisions that you have to take. When you get sick, most of these drugs are not sweet. They're usually bitter, but you have to take them because you want to get well. And then that's exactly what's happening to us right now in Plateau. Like, we're creating better alternatives to what was, and taking people and bringing them into the future of what should be. And it is not in any way to frustrate them, but to make them much more prosperous. Like, it's us telling you that if you are doing this, for so little, you can do much more better. It is us telling you that you don't have to sell under the sun to make business thrive. You can actually be under a shade and still make business work. It is us telling you that you don't have to be in the gutters, or in slums to live. We're all human beings. Everybody has a right to life, and then you should be able to live in a well-arranged, conducive environment. And we believe that sooner or later, when we roll out our plans, it's in process. We are hoping that the Greater Jos Master Plan will be validated, and then the acronym of the GMD will also be changed to cover the entire urban centers within the city, the state. At that particular point in time, there's going to be expansion and growth, and then there's going to be a whole lot of layouts. We're going to now take deliberate efforts. And let me state this so that it goes into record, because a lot of people have been asking. Barrister Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang is coming to the rescue, because a lot of people have been asking about the price in land and the price in rent and everything. Government is being deliberate about development. The reason why those things are spiking are false values, and it's basically because there's no control. But with the level of control coming in and the efforts government is putting in, when government starts to make provisions for those things, it will definitely crash those things, and then people will be able to live comfortably. We will have the low, the medium, and high density areas whereby people can live based on what you can afford without having to sweat and stress yourself. So I want to assure Plateau people that the future is bright. And then, just like my brother said, we will make things better, and we hope that by the special grace of God, at the end of the day, they will get to appreciate what we brought to the table.
Okay. I mean, if we continue, there'll be so much more to say, but this is the much we can take for this moment, okay? If you've listened to what they have shared, you would see that we are onto great things on the plateau. We started by saying we're talking accountability, intentionality, and you've seen them express all of that. If only we will trust the process, like they've said. If only we would see the excellence that is ongoing, we would realize that we are onto great things. We would realize that there is hope. We will realize that the future is bright.